What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. I'm taking my little stroll down Warehouse Lane. Common Goods opens here in 25 minutes or so. I'm feeling like kind of nervous because something I listed for sale yesterday like blew up, and so it's a lot of different items, but it's like 50 different people that are like, "I'm coming," and there will be enough for everybody. It's a lot of like $1 items, stuff I'm just trying to get rid of, and it's weird, like the harder you work, or I don't know, like the more money you make, the more work you're creating for yourself. Not that I'll necessarily make that much money today, but it's like, oh wow, a lot of foot traffic. I should be just excited and pumped. And I'm like deeply thankful, but I'm also like, oh man, here it comes. Like, it's gonna be a lot of questions. Gotta make sure people don't steal stuff from me. Like, I'm just gonna have to work a lot harder than the days where I'm just chilling and, a couple people come by and it's just a smooth day. I can get some computer work done. It's not going to be one of those days. It's going to be pretty hands-on. So that's the gift. That's the gift. Successful entrepreneurship, I guess, is working harder. So I guess it makes sense that I get paid more if I work harder, but not that that's always necessarily directly correlated. Anyways, I wanted to testify about a guy that's meant so much to me, and his name is Eric Hopper. It's my best high school friend, is how I describe him in a sentence nowadays. But man, just so thankful for you, Eric. He's 30 years old now. Quite the old man, seasoned veteran. And man, there's just so much that I appreciate about Eric. But my sophomore year of high school, kind of that fall, winter is when I hit my wall. My worldviews were shattered. And coming into the spring is when I, kind of dedicated my life to the Lord, realized that He's supposed to be my purpose in this life. And I had this, it's the only time that I've had this conscious decision as it related to relationships. Now, relationships are a two-way street, but on my end of the street, I've never been one to be strategic or intentional or selective with whatever relationships I'm in or friendships. But when I decided I'm going to follow Jesus, I did have this very conscious awareness that I was like, I need to figure out how I can become friends with Eric. Like, there has to be a way. I don't know how exclusive of a club that is. I don't know if he will accept me as a friend, but I just respected him so much and could see his life so clearly, as fruitful, edifying, honoring to the Lord. I mean, he was, sophomore year of high school, and he's just well-rounded, kind, and I mean, just had read the Bible multiple times. His dad was a pastor. Like, I just knew this is going to be a good influence for me, and I enjoyed him. He was funny, witty. I still do enjoy him, and he still does those things. But just at the time of kind of forming friendship, I knew, like, for my soul, like, it's going to be so good if I can befriend this man, And thank you, Eric, for being my friend. Like, I came into that kind of pretty selfishly, like I didn't necessarily have a lot to offer, other than my reciprocated friendship, but yours was certainly more valuable to me than mine was to you, at least for a stretch of time there. And so that's the first thing I'm thankful for, is just that he let me in. And I'm sure it wasn't indefinitely just this missional willingness on his part. Like, we were groomsmen in each other's weddings, and I'm pretty sure Eric would also say that I'm his friend. But nonetheless, thankful, Eric, that you just took me in. And a couple things specifically about him that I admired, that I was influenced by. One of them I mentioned was just he knew the Bible. Like he had read it, and he was still reading it. That was more than almost anyone I knew, right, at that time in my life, especially. He's also incredibly stable. Like he's just so loyal. He's so stable. It's like you could just never like ruffle his feathers, I guess. I mean, you could, but it'd be hard to, like just very, very loyal person. And I really appreciate that because I feel like I've had a relatively volatile, 12 years here, or however long it's been. At least it's felt volatile at times internally, like there's, like my moral code was not nearly as cleaned up as his was when we became good friends. And so he had to overlook a lot and forgive a lot and trust, that I'm in a positive trajectory. And we just hung out all the time, like so much disc golf together, so many games of Catan together, and just that friendship that was so fun, so edifying, so good for me, and also just so stabilizing. Eric was also so he's the oldest sibling of of the 4 Hoppers, and that's the other just testimony of this friendship with Eric, as it is confined to those high school days that I'm describing right now, is his family. Like, I spent a lot of time at his house. I wouldn't say I was like their adopted son. I wasn't like over that much, but his parents, their marriage, their parenting, and then Eric, his character, and then his 3 siblings, Ian, Hudson, and Corey, like just each individually marked with just the same measure of meekness, of genuine faith, of just a very strong current of logic in their family, which I appreciated. I'm again a little bit more intuitive, a little bit more feeler, and so I just gravitate towards that in companionship. That just such sound reasoning, there's just a safety there. But really, their family was like the first Jesus family for me. It's a little harsh to say that because obviously I come from an amazing family and I grew up around other amazing families, but there's just a different measure, a different grace, a different amount of intentionality. I mean, they were all homeschooled through middle school, so high school, well, Corey kind of went back and forth, some of them did, but for the most part they were homeschooled. They had once a week family night. Their dad was just cultivated things in the hearts of his kids, did things to encourage the growth of their kids and their unique giftings. And they're all just so uniquely gifted. It's amazing to me. It's a marvel and a wonder. Like, I could just talk about their family for another 20 minutes, but I won't. But, Eric came into high school and he had self-taught math all the way through pre-cal. So his freshman year of high school, he's doing calculus 1 and 2. And his, the culture of his home had a lot to do with that, And then Ian, year and change younger, 2 years younger, was several things, but boisterous personality, super fun-loving. But that played out in theater that he excelled in, and then especially in fitness. Like, he just really got into it. It was just generally sporty for a lot of his life, but that turned into a passion. And then it's like, okay, you can set up a garage gym, and he's buying this different CrossFit equipment, and now, he's I don't know what you call him, a soldier. He's in the Coast Guard. Went to transferred into the Coast Guard Academy, like an incredibly impressive human being. And his next brother, Hudson, not my Hudson Hopper, he was making YouTube videos when he was 7. like editing them, filming clip by clip, like little Lego reenactments, where he has to move each little piece and then take another, shot or another film clip and then stitching them all together. And he had like a pretty impressive YouTube following, like without his name or face even being a part of it, just his films, like as a middle schooler, and now of course he's a professional filmmaker and videographer and co-director for music videos and stuff. Like, he lives in the LA area, has his own business, super impressive person. And then Corey, like, Corey was a decent bit younger, like 7 years younger than Eric and I. So there's an age gap. She was still pretty elementary schoolish when I was there in high school, but has also just bloomed into this incredible woman of God. Like, recorded an album before she even finished college, like published, like unique giftings that were cultivated by his parents, or at least allowed room to grow, and not just the parents, but like the co-sibling relationships, like just such health. And the point of what I'm talking about is not really look at the talent, it's the togetherness, it's the health of the interactions that really truly for me was like this little picture, this little glimpse into what family can mean, what it can look like, like with a intentional Christian center, that brought each individual person of the family closer to God and also closer to each other. Like a very real, a substance faith. And so I loved going over there. It was like vacation for me. It was like, can I just be here? And that, like, seriously, Mrs. Hopper would always buy me like bougie marshmallows from Trader Joe's. Like, oh, Jeremy's coming over, let's get him some marshmallows. And like, just took care of me, like, again, I wasn't quite necessarily like an adopted son. I'm sure they had other friends and family friends that spent a lot of time there, but they made me feel like I was the other kid, like they made me feel so welcomed, and I was just blown away by their hospitality, their frugality, their ingenuity. So awesome. Since then, in college and adulthood, like, I've met a couple other just like great families, like banner role model type families that you can just take a lot from. But at the time in high school, like, the Hoppers were just uniquely a gift to me. It really changed what I knew was possible. Like, it really opened up a new realm, a new dimension of Christian parenting, Christian sibling relationships, like just the Christian home, what it really can mean. It took me to a new place of faith, and that's just reaped so many rewards in even my own parenting, my own home now. And so that's just another gift of this friendship with Eric that I didn't know. I didn't know that was a part of the deal. I didn't know that was coming when I tried to become his friend, and thankfully he let me be his friend. And then just go, like, moving on, we go to different colleges. We haven't lived in the same city since 2012. Jeez, that is sad. But his faithfulness is still so great. Like, I've never, ever even once been like, is he still my friend? Like, are we still good? Obviously, we built Budget for Life together, mainly him. Like, he's the brains, the genius. Also, just your humility, Eric. Thank you, just from an intellectual perspective, for, befriending me. I'm sure, like, me and Eric, we're not on the same tier of societal impact or brain power. So I'm just thankful, Eric, that you didn't make that a qualifier to be your friend, and that I'm at least sharp enough to be accepted. But it's really not my sharpness, it's really your humility, So just thanks. The amount of things Eric would explain to me that I didn't understand, whether it's political, biblical, mathematical, theoretical, philosophical, like, he loves teaching. So he wasn't, again, just doing it, from a place of pain and obligation internally. but such a gift. Like, it was like a walking encyclopedia, but filled with the spirit of discernment, you know? I was like, Eric, I just need you, like, in my pocket, man. Life would have gone better for me if he was always by my side, but life's been pretty good. And he really has just been such a faithful friend, even through that distance. And then watching, like, the way that he has dated, the way that he has shown that faithfulness, and his other friendships, and his marriage with Alyssa, like, he's just really just a special guy. He really is. Anyone that knows him, like, you know, they're probably like, man, Jeremy, is this video really the best you could do for Eric? If you really want to undersell him that much? Like, I'm not describing enough. Just what a gift that he has been. Sometimes, like, above anything, I don't know, like, just like, loyalty feels like the best gift you could give in a friendship. Like, if you're so amazing, but I can't count on you. If you're so amazing, but then I'm excommunicated, or like, if you're so amazing, but it's just for a time, and then we'll move our different ways. Like, there's a limited impact there, you know, but it's like the best part of relationship is the endurance. It's that it still exists. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise you're just like a high school hero talking about your stats when you played football 30 years ago. And there's just this intuitive reality of, like, is that still where you're living, you know? Like, have you not moved on from that? Like, you don't want to live in that. Just in the past, you know? Like, friendships, so often, like, we have these great friends back when we were young, you know? And then, sorry that I just, like, wipe my nose with the phone in my hand. Still picking up this YouTuber game. What am I saying? The best part, that's the best part of a relationship, is if it still exists. Or like a business, you know, like, man, one time, you remember those years? Remember in 1999? Wow, we really made a lot of money that year. And it's like, have you, like, and then you went out of business and that was it. So, like, are you still reveling in this success, quote unquote, from a long time ago? You know, like, relationally, we do that though. Like, oh, we had these great friends, these great memories, we love to reminisce, walk down memory lane, and we act as if it's still filling the cup. But it's like, if that relationship broke down and didn't continue, like, is this really, it's still worth honoring and remembering, of course, but it misses the best part, you know, which is, what about your relationships now? And when you can have relationships now that were also relationships then, and then you just stack years together, and then you stack decades together, just the richness of that, it's awesome. And so I'm just thankful that I have a friend in Eric that, like, I can build that richness with, a friend that knew me, like, pretty early on. Like, he's my closest, longest friend at this point in my life. And so, like, no one could ever replace that. No one could ever take his shoes. You want to know how humble Eric is, guys? Literally, he nominated me, allowed for me, like, to be the president of the math club in high school. He took calculus freshman and sophomore year. Like, like, he tutored, like, he was doing college math sophomore, junior, senior year, self-taught, you know? And he's like, and the math club was pretty much like me, Eric, and a couple friends. So it's not like it was a huge responsibility, but he knew that I was, like, I don't know, that I would want that, or that it would be good for my resume or whatever. And he's like, you know what? Let's let Jeremy be. Like, I don't even understand. Like, maybe he just genuinely really did not want to do it, but, like, doing it, there wasn't even anything to do. Like, it was just a title. I'm like, that was your title. Like, if you had any title owed to you, that was it. And he's like, here, Jeremy, you can have this title. Just crazy. Just such a humble guy. And so, really appreciate Eric, everything he's meant to me. and continues to mean, and looking forward to what it will continue to mean in even the future. Like, again, we haven't lived super closely. We've both been in the grind of our 20s. Me starting a church and starting businesses, him getting his PhD, and then moving cities, and then a new job. Like, we've had complications, things that have made life harder than probably either of us thought they would be when we were 16. But like, there's no loss. I'm like, there's only more to gain. There's nothing to lose when it comes to relationship with Eric, and that is a blessing to my soul. And I just want to thank the Lord for Eric. So if you watch this whole video, you are crazy, but I love you, all y'all. I love all y'all. Got some more videos coming. I'll talk to y'all soon. Life is worship. God is love.